What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Today we have a pretty cool little lead dispenser that you've all probably heard of at one point or another, whether it's in real life, video games, movies. Typically bad guys are carrying these things in the movies, which is one of the reasons it became so recognizable. And of course, I'm talking about the Mac-11, not to be confused with the Uzi or the Mac-10. People tend to call every gun that looks like this an Uzi because that's probably the most popular one, but it's not. It's a Mac-11. It's a slightly different design and quite a bit smaller than an Uzi as well. So as you're all probably well aware by now, I usually don't do the research I should before these videos, but I believe the Mac-11 was originally a machine pistol chambered in .380 ACP, but since then they have made semi-automatic versions obviously and 9mm versions as well, which is fortunately what this is. So let's take a close-up look at this big chunk of steel. It is a straight blowback 9mm pistol, and it's extremely big and heavy for a 9mm pistol. So it's an interesting design. Our magazines go in here in the pistol grip, obviously, and we have our awkward magazine release right there. It's got a charging handle on top and our safety selector on the side. Oh, that's neat. It rotates 360 degrees, which I have a feeling it's not supposed to do. Off to a good start. Now the Mac-11 is a cool looking gun, there's no doubt about it, but it's also extremely ugly at the same time. And if I'm being honest, it feels terrible. It's probably the most uncomfortable gun I've ever held in my life. And I have a feeling it's not gonna be very pleasant to shoot, but I could be wrong. I guess we'll find out together. And hopefully it doesn't blow up. And really quick before we get started, I want to thank BFF Firearms in Danville, Illinois for letting me borrow this gun to make the video. If you're in Eastern Illinois or Western Indiana, go check out their shop. They got really cool stuff, really cool guys, and of course I appreciate it when they let me borrow guns to make videos with. So go check them out. All right, very first shots. We got 10 rounds in this first magazine. I have some other mags that we'll try as well. And apparently Mac and Uzi owners don't like lubrication because just like every other one of these that I've held, this one is also bone dry. So hopefully it works. Let's see. The sights are absolutely atrocious. It actually works, and it's not good, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Such a terrible design for that charging handle. It obviously doesn't lock the bolt back, but it ran. Let's try another 10 rounds. Obviously this is a much cooler looking magazine, but 10 more rounds. I like it. I don't like it, but I'm pleasantly surprised. See if I can hit that steel target. Okay, it's going way right. Like way right. Try a 15 round mag. Always staying YouTube compliant. I wish I could figure out do our sideways gangster. It's not comfortable, that's for sure. Ugh. I love that charging handle. That's about 1 millimeter of metal to grab. Great design. So I really want to show you guys this sight picture because it is absolutely ridiculous. So the front sight is obviously up here, just in front of the charging handle, but when you bring it down to look through that rear peep, all you can see is just the very top of the front sight. So it's not exactly easy to hit the target with. The trigger guard has no undercut like most handguns do, so it just rakes your middle finger when you're shooting it, but it works, so I guess that part's cool. Well, it's about what I expected, honestly. I will say the recoil pleasantly surprised me, probably because the gun weighs 10 pounds. It helps to mitigate a lot of that, but the 9mm is already really soft shooting, and this gun pretty much has no recoil. Well, the trigger ain't too great either. Let's see how fast we can get 5 rounds out of this thing. Not bad. Not bad. So the number one question that I get asked about on this channel is ear pro. I probably get a dozen messages a day from people asking what kind of ear pro I'm using. And in the past, I was hesitant to promote them because I, didn't know how well they would hold up, the quality. They were also very expensive. And I just didn't want to have you guys spend a bunch of money and then have them break or not work for you. Well, this weekend at the Gundy's, I forgot my ear pro, as you naturally do when you're going to shoot tanks and RPGs. You leave your ear pro at home like an idiot. And I ran into these guys called Axel, and everyone that I was with was wearing Axel ear pro as well, and they gave me a pair to try, and these things are freaking sweet. So it's electronic earplugs, which I like a lot better than the muffs. Obviously muffs are still necessary sometimes, but these are just little plugs that go in your ear, and then they have that thing that hooks on the back to keep them in place. They have adjustments, you can make them louder or quieter. They also have Bluetooth so you can listen to music, and they're rechargeable, which was one of the biggest selling points. My other ones took little batteries that died after about 2 hours. So they've also got different tips depending on what size ear you have. Apparently I have the smallest ears in the world, but these are gonna be my new ear pro because I met the guys, I know I can trust them, and it's some of the nicest ear pro I've ever tried, and I mean that. So I'm gonna try to get an affiliate link to put down in the description box below where you can save a bunch of money, and it will also help to support the channel. And you guys know I don't just push or promote hardly anything. I've never made a dime off affiliate links in the past, but I think this ear pro is worth it, and it's something that could help you guys and help benefit the channel as well. So Axel ear pro, look for the link down in the description box below. Well, apparently this one came with a little satchel to hold all your magazines, so we're definitely rocking that. But what I did is I painted my target, and I want to try to figure out what's going on with these sights, because some of them were going way to the right and others looked like they were kind of going where I was aiming. So we're gonna try to figure this out together and see if we can hit that steel. Hey, that one's pretty far to the right. All right, so the gun's accurate. It's not, grouping really big. They're just going 3 or 4 inches to the right. All those felt really good, and I'm aiming right at the middle of the target. Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think you could adjust these sights. The back is literally just part of the frame, and the front looks like it ain't going anywhere either, so. Tactical reload with our satchel. Lightning fast, lightning fast. So if you get a Mac-11, you just have to shoot it sideways like the rap videos, or else you're not cool. And surprisingly, it feels even worse than it does shooting it upright, which is already bad. So I don't know how that trend got started, but it's terrible. Let's see what it does to a case of mellow yellow, if I can even hit it. So I've just got to aim about 6 inches to the left, and we should hit it. Little extra carbonation in that one. Thank God no one tried to drink that. So I'm honestly shocked that so far we've had 0 malfunctions, but one thing I want to do is check the ejection pattern, because I don't think I've looked at that yet. I'm just going to shoot it into the hill because I know the steel gets kind of annoying, but let's see how it's ejecting these shell casings. Really far, wow. And they're all going in the exact same place. Really consistent. This thing actually seems to be really reliable. All right, guys, well, since I've crapped on the Mac-11 for about 10 minutes straight, I thought before we wrap this up, I would go ahead and show you guys another pistol that I think is better in just about every way. So this is my Glock 19. It's also a 9mm, and right off the bat, you can see that the size difference is vast. The Mac-11 is at least twice the size and probably more than twice the weight. Now, one thing I will say is in full auto, these Mac-11s might be awesome. I've never shot one, but I did just shoot a full auto Glock, and I was surprised at how controllable it was. I stayed on the target the entire magazine, no problem. But that extra weight would obviously help you if you're shooting full auto, and the Mac-11 machine pistols might be awesome. I'm sure they probably are. And capacity wouldn't really be an advantage for the Mac-11 either, because they obviously make magazines for the Glock that will hold pretty much however many rounds you want. So when you consider all that, I would take the Glock over the Mac-11 and semi-auto at least every day of the week. And I'm sure the price of the Mac-11 would probably steer me towards the Glock as well. I don't know how expensive these are, but they're probably not as cheap as this. And the Glock is as reliable as any handgun on the planet. And for as much crap that people talk about the sights on a Glock, they're still better than the sights on a Mac-11. You can actually see the target and the front sight at the same time. Imagine that. And my middle finger doesn't feel like it's about to fall off after shooting the Glock either. All right, guys, there you have it. The Mac-11 is an interesting gun. Is it cool? Absolutely. Would I buy one? Absolutely. Would I buy one if I had to pick between this and something else? Probably not. It's kind of outdated. It's obviously a brick of heavy metal. The trigger guard, the charging handle, the safety that seems to rotate 360 degrees. There's just some weird things about it. I will say I was surprised how well it ran. Like I said, I've seen videos of some that run really well and others that don't. But this one ran perfectly. We had 0 malfunctions and it worked every time. So of course, Mac-11s are cool. All these kind of guns are really cool. And it's mainly from Hollywood and video games that we've been introduced to these. And most of us want them for that cool factor, but it's not gonna be a gun that I would carry, obviously, or put on my nightstand. Number one, it probably wouldn't do well in court if you had to go in front of a judge and say you use this in self-defense. It sucks, but it's kind of the reality of the situation. But either way, I think the Mac-11 is awesome, and I would absolutely buy one if I could. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please let me know down in the comments below. As always, hit that like button for me, guys. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.